Hello everyone. I am OPG Mari Toomey. I am Jinx Almighty's fiance. I am also the 1GS6 for OPG Recon. The reason I'm making this video today, I'm sorry about the pixelation. For some reason it's not zooming properly, so it's a little on the pixely side. Apologize for that. The reason I'm making this video today is because when I became a 6, I realized there was a certain level of disorder to the ranking. You really didn't know who was who, what was what. I mean, it just, you couldn't do it at a glance. So I came up with an idea of an organization system which will help everyone with this, because the GS6s, the GS9s, the GS7s, 8s, all of the upper ranking members will be able to take a look at this system and just open a page, and they'll have the name and they'll know the rank. It's that simple of a system. It's really easy to make as well. This is what the final product looked like. I actually, this is a phoenix personified in human form, and then I have a true phoenix on the back. The reason that I used this instead of the actual emblem is because I tried to pull the official OPG emblem off the website and I was not able to, so I had to improvise. Now, as you can see at the top, it has OPG Sin Recon, and at the bottom, it doesn't show it very well, but it says policies and codes of conduct, practice schedule and attendance, roster, and ranks. So this will have everything. I also included in the policies and codes of conduct, I also did include the blacklist, so that way if someone who has been blacklisted tries to come in after they have been told to stay away from OPG, because not everyone will know who's on the blacklist due to the fact that we have new members every day, this is a way for the GS 6, 7s, 8s, and 9s to open the page, and if they're suspicious, check and see if that person is truly on the blacklist. So it's a way for us to protect ourselves, especially with you know, other clans poaching and the whole poaching issue, period. So you know, it's just one of the protection factors. So this is actually very simple. It's very inexpensive to make. This is a 1-inch binder. You can get it from Walmart for like 99 cents. I need to see if I can get the actual, well, we all need to see if we can actually get the logo, our true logo, because then that can be, all you need is a printer. You don't even need to have a print at home. You can go to the library or you can go to a print shop and you can print out the logo on the front and for the back. And then you want to put the OPG, the SIN, and then if you're in CIA, put CIA. If you're in MI6, excuse me, put MI6. If you're in SEALs, put SEALs. Just make sure, you know, because the idea is that these are going to be hard copies of our activity. So when you are no longer a 1GS6, or you are no longer a 7, or you are no longer an 8, or you are no longer a 9. I mean, of course, you know, the 6GS1, they would keep theirs and keep it as they go up the ranks. You know, say they become a 7, keep it, because you're going to still need it. Keep it when you're an 8, keep it when you're a 9. But if you get to a 10, you know, you should still, but, you know, keep it technically. But if you're 9 and you go to a different syndicate, then you will be able to send this to the person who is replacing you, and they will know everything that has been going on since you took over the position. And the idea is that this book will be able to grow, so that way the new people taking over, there's not as much frustration or chaos, because a lot of times the top ranking officers will tend to move with their officer. Like, they're not, like, example, Devastation. A lot of people who are following him follow Devastation. That is not an issue. But it left Recon with virtually no officers. So the idea of this is to give the officers a heads up. Let them know what's going on, the new officers, so that way they don't have to completely start all over again. Because no matter what, there's always going to be a high level of GS1s. And if you know who the GS1s are, you can start reaching out and you can start refilling your ranks by reaching out to the GS1s and saying, I see you've been a GS1 for a while. Do you have any recruits? Have you signed up for the website? Would you like to start taking on more responsibilities? Things of that nature. That is the true idea behind this, is to help the different syndicates and fire teams stay, organized and stay in line. So, like I said, this is right here, the first page. Then I have it clearly noted, OPG, Recon, and it says how to recruit, our honor code, recruiting tips, and awards and ribbons. I included the awards and ribbons in here because some of the new recruits do, before they're recruited, do ask, well, if we're doing really, really well, do you guys recognize us in any way? And it's kind of blowing them off if you say, go look at the website, all the information's on there. And that can turn recruits off, and that can stop us from receiving recruits. Someone who's all for it, if they get told, ask a question and then get told, go just look at the website, that one statement may change their mind because they may feel like you are blowing them off. So in here, the very first thing I have, by the way, ignore that. That was me trying to get the angle right. The very first thing I have in here is the code of conduct, because I feel the code of conduct is the most vital and important piece we have, other than the transfer procedures and the chain of command, because the honor code, or I call it code of conduct all the time, is basically our mission statement in a nutshell. It's what we are supposed to be. It is how we are supposed to act. None of us are perfect. We all make mistakes. But at least with this, we have an idea of what is expected of us. So, and that is why when we're recruiting, that is the first thing that we are instructed to tell the possible new recruit is the honor code. And most people are very impressed with this, because a lot of different clans don't have this setup. And honestly, out of all the clans Jinx and I investigated, this is the most organized clan. And as far as respecting and, just not letting things that other clans let happen. So that's a good thing for us. Now, hold on just a second. Sorry, I have a pop-up. Stupid pop-up, go away. Sorry about that. Okay, so I have that. And generally, most of my recruits ask me to read the whole thing. So I take the time. That's another thing, is when I'm recruiting, I take the time with my recruits, and I make sure they feel comfortable with what they're getting themselves into. I just don't say, hey, OPG is really awesome, you should come join us. So, sometimes a little bit of thoroughness really does help with finding reliable and valuable assets for OPG. The next thing I have is recruiting. This is something, once I have recruited the recruit, when they are ready to start recruiting, I read this to them. I talk to them about it. I give them the tips. A lot of my recruits have started mimicking my recruiting techniques, and they are starting to bring in more recruits. Matter of fact, one of my recruits, we just got 3 recruits today, as a matter of fact. So the tips for recruiting, I think that should be read to every GS1, because the first time you recruit, it's scary and it's frustrating and it's hard, and you want to make sure you tell the person everything they want to know, but you're like, oh my god, did I forget something? I need to go look at the website. And if you take the time to spend the time with your GS1s, they won't feel so awkward in the recruiting process. Um, Next, I have the award ribbons. The reason I have these in here is due to the fact that you can use these as points of why being a member of the OPG community and family is a good thing. It shows that we don't just ignore you, we recognize you. Matter of fact, the recruit that one of the recruits we were working with this morning, we were joking around about the Walmart connection. And the reason we were talking about that is we were like, there are some people who lag out when they're playing, and we still want to let them know we know they're there, and we recognize them with the Walmart connection. It's one of those, we know you're trying, we're proud of you for trying, and we're sorry that your internet connection is so bad. And, the recruit laughed and he's like, that's awesome. So, and because of talking about the awards and the ribbons, that was something he was very interested in, because he loved the concept that he would be recognized when he did things. So, the ribbons can be a valuable recruiting tool. So then the next one is, of course, again, every new chapter has OPG Recon on it. The next one is hosting advice, host schedule, and attendance for practice for the whole week. So what I do is I have in here, the first thing I have is for the GS4s who are starting to co-host. I read them, or whoever's hosting reads them the hosting advice, talks to them, and then generally when I'm hosting, I'll split up the responsibilities. Like I'll have the co-host take attendance and make sure everybody's emblem's right, and then do the honor code, and then I'll be setting up the game while he or she is doing that. Or if I'm co-hosting, I'll have the host be setting up the game while I'm taking attendance and doing everything. Now, these pieces of advice, believe it or not, and I know all of you have been here, the first time you ever host, it's nerve-wracking, it's scary, and you feel like your tummy's going in a billion knots, honestly. So this really does help calm them down, and the person who wrote this really did give a good piece of advice, and it's a very useful tool. The next thing I have is our schedule. This is very important because the 9s need to be able to look at the schedule at a glance. And frankly, not everybody, like for example, me and Jinx, we live in a 2-story townhouse. Jinx can't run upstairs every time he has to answer a hosting question. With this book, all he has to do is open to this page, and he's got the entire week's hosting schedule, and all he has to do is say Friday, capture the flag, host, Pilsy, and co-host Nutella, OPG Nutella. And then bam, they know what's going on. They know who's hosting and who's co-hosting, and they know everything they need to know. And they know what game it is. Okay? So then what I do after that is I go onto the website and I actually take the, once the practice is posted, I will go onto the website and I will actually take and copy and paste into Word the attendance, and I will put it in here underneath this week's attendance. Right now I only have 2. There should be 3. I still have to go copy that one. This is so that way the GS9 can keep track of their active members. Because one of the things, yes, we want to have fun, but at the same time, if somebody is screaming, I want to rank up, I want to rank up, I want to rank up, they need to be active. And if they're not showing up to the minimum of the 2 practices a week, you know, that's something that we can tell them, hey, I looked back the last couple weeks or the last month and you haven't been coming to practice. If you want to, you know, if you want to be promoted, start coming to practice. You know, this helps us help them if that's truly what they want, is to move up in the organization. Also, the way this works is this works backwards. So once this week is done, what will happen, hold on, I'm going to get this back over to here. Once this week is done, what will happen is the newest practice sheet will go on top of this practice sheet, and then that week will go in there, and then so on and so forth. So it goes from oldest to newest. You're always going to have the newest practice sheet on top. So that way you have the newest activity on top. And also it might be interesting to see who's consistent in their practices and who's not. Yes, life does happen, but I have noticed that there are people who take this very seriously and they are extremely consistent in their practices. Matter of fact, there are several of our recon members who are at all 6 practices. And I mean, that's amazing. I'm not even at all 6. So, you know, this is a valuable tool. This is truly a valuable tool. So then the next one after that is going to be policies and chains of command. The importance behind this one is the officers, the 6s, the 7s, the 8s, we all get asked questions constantly. And I really honestly have to say, as you can see right there, there's the policy, and this is what the page for the policies and chain of command looks like. It's got the, of course, OPG and recon on it. And One Shot, Vengeance, Titan, Evil Empire, you guys are amazing men, but the reality is, even you don't have all the policies memorized. None of us do. That's why it's helpful to have it at your fingertips, because then it looks like you have it memorized. You don't, but you still have it. So the first thing I have in here is transfer procedures and policies, because and this is something new that was added to the website. The reason I have this in here is because you know, that was a question I had started getting answered, and not just by recon. MIA, SEAL, or MI6, SEALs, CIA, if they caught me online, they would ask me, Mari, what's the procedure to transfer? Jinx got asked what the procedure to transfer was, and Jinx couldn't answer the question. He just referred them to the website. And I'm sorry, upper officers, but if you constantly refer them to the website, they're gonna feel like they're being blown off. So having this, you can say, okay, if you're just wanting to transfer to a different, you know, say you're in CIA and you want to be in MI6. If you just want to transfer because you want to be in MI6 instead of CIA, you can read them the policy. The policy is actually pretty interesting, and it does involve a agreement of both the GS9s as well as a parting gift and a coming gift. This is a very good policy. I think it is a good way to encourage goodwill between the fire teams, because right now we're just fire teams. We're very disconnected. We're supposed to be a community and a family, but it's almost like SEALs is in Tokyo, Recon's in California, MI6 is in London, and CIA is in New York. It's almost like we're in different parts of the continent. There's very little communication and continuity between the different fire teams as far as the lower ranks go. there's extreme amount of communication with the upper ranks, 7 and up. But GS1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, even some of the 5s are not communicating with the other fire teams. And to fully recognize the philosophy, we should be able to interact with each other, and we should be able to transfer back and forth between the teams in a organized, cohesive manner. And that's what this does. I actually have to say, Empire, this was actually very well written, and I agree with it completely. Now, the next one is How to Be an Amazing Officer. I put this in here because when you rank up, sometimes you forget why you're ranking up, and the power can go to your head. And when that happens, you can get a little bit of a God complex. So the How to Be an Amazing Officer creates a certain level of grounding for the 6s, 7s, 8s, and 9s. Because, they need that sometimes. And they need to remember that they are human and that they make mistakes as well. And that the GS1, the only difference between the GS1 and the GS9 is the GS9 has, 1, been in the clan longer, and 2, has put in a different amount of work. Anyone can be a GS9, and that's the one thing I love about OPG is you put in as much as you put in is as much as you get out of it. And I love situations where the work you put in puts you in the position you're in. The only thing is, and that's why How to Be an Amazing Officer is so important, is you have to make sure that you're ready for that type of responsibility. And some of the people who want to rank up so fast, they're not really thinking about what's going to be expected of them. So having the How to Be an Amazing Officer really is important. Yes, they need to be on the website, but this is kind of one of those I would call it a coaching type thing, where you sit down with the person and they're like, well, man, I really, really, really want to be a GS8. And you can sit there and read this to them and talk to them about the responsibility of GS8 and be like, this is what's going to be expected of you. Are you sure you're ready to be a GS8? Do you want to wait and be in a lower rank for a little while and hone your leadership skills some more? Like GS5 is the perfect spot to hone your leadership skills. I'm not going to disagree with that in any way, shape, or form. So, this gives you a tool to really kind of talk with them about. And yes, I actually have had one recruit ask me to read the entire ranking up system to him from start to finish, all the way up to Evil Empire's position. It was a 2-hour recruition. It was interesting. All right, so the rest of How to Be an Amazing Officer. Then I also have in here what to expect from your generals, colonels, and GS9s. The reason I have this in here is so that way the GS9s who have this book can look at this and remind themselves of what us lower GSs are expecting of them. You are our leaders. We look to you. We look to you for problem solving. I try extremely hard to not let the problems get to my GS 7, 8, or 9. I try to stop it at me, but sometimes I'll think something's taken care of, and in actuality, they go covert, and then eventually it does get to Jinx. And I do actually, send a communique whenever there's a problem saying, hey, there's this problem, but I think I have it taken care of. I'll let you know if it flares back up. So, we do communicate. I would communicate with Demon King more, but he doesn't have internet yet. He's still moving. And me and Skittles have been talking a great deal. I have been doing a lot of the ranking up as far as GS1s, 2s, 3s, and 4s, and 5s as well. So me and Skittles will talk back and forth about the roster, and he's actually the one doing the roster. I'm doing the roster, but he's typing the roster into the website. So me and Skittles are working as a team to keep our roster updated with who's where and what's where. Okay. Now, again, this is the how to be, what to expect from your colonels and generals and stuff. Now, this is the where I put the chain of command as well. Um, it's pretty long. I'm not gonna lie. There's a lot to the chain of command, but I felt it needed to be in here because sometimes we can't quote everything every time, and sometimes the GS1 will go, okay, well, what do I do if you're not there? Or what do I do if the 5's not there? Or what do I do if the 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 aren't there, or the 10? Who do I talk to? Because a lot of the GS1s don't realize that there's a GS11, 12, 13, and the council. I strongly discourage the GS1s from going straight to the council. I encourage them to leave me a voicemail. But either way, the chain of command does state that if the GS5 is not available, go to the GS6 and so on. So this is a way for me to give them the tools to, one, when they want to rank up, tell them what their new responsibilities would be and how they can get there. But two, it also lets me explain to them what their options are if their chain of command is not online. Also, an idea I had about this is that if, say, recon, none of us are online, and one of our GS1s, 2s, 3s, or 4s is having a severe issue, maybe making a policy that it's okay to reach out to a GS 6, 7, 8, or 9 of another fire team and ask for help, saying none of my, or if the 10's not on, or the 11, the people that would normally go through, say, hey, I need help. They're not online. This is something that can't wait. Can I talk to you? And I think that'd be another thing that would help integrate and provide goodwill between the different fire teams, because we really are separate to a certain extent, and we talk about being a family and community, and I really think we need to work on being more of a family and community. A GS9, whether you're in MI6 or you're in recon, should be able to help any GS1, and that's not really happening. So that's one thing. The last thing I added in here, and like I said, this is new, is the block list. Because the GS9s need to know who are blocked from the website. Then we've got the recon roster and rank changes. As you can see, there is a bunch of handwriting all over this. This is my doodle page. It hasn't, the new roster hasn't updated. As you can see, upgrade, people are being promoted, people are being demoted as needed, people are being moved around. These are all new. These right here, those are all new recruits. So because I use this as my doodle board, and then when Skittles updates it online, I print out the new one, and then that one becomes my doodle board. So this is a good way to keep track of your roster. A really good way. The next thing I have in here is the the old roster. I believe in keeping all the rosters, because you don't, those who forget their past are doomed to repeat it. So it's a good idea to keep your roster and look, because if somebody gets ranked up again, you can actually look back and go, oh yeah, I remember I demoted him because he was doing this exact same thing. And then, a different type of discipline will happen instead of just a demotion. So this helps keep track of, who's doing what and who's causing problems in, your fire team. So this is really important. This is a personal thing I added myself. You don't actually have to do this, but I handwrite every attendance, just because I want to be able to compare it with the one that's actually put online, just in case the new host or the new co-host missed someone, because it is a requirement to be at these practices, and I want to make sure that our practice our attendance list is correct. So that's why I handwrite, and I'm really not joking. I handwrite every single attendance list since I started doing this. They're all handwritten in here. The next one in here is the notes for Jinx from the recon, the meeting with all the sevens and up, the Gen meetings. This is for Jinx to take notes. So that way, because not when you guys are talking, it's a good idea to take notes anyways, because you're not going to remember everything you guys talked about. And sometimes there's some important points that get forgotten that need to be told to the team because, well, let's face it, guys, we joke around. And sometimes we'll get off track. So this gives us a chance to take notes for important things. Like Jinx took notes for the tournament. So that way he can remind himself to tell everyone to give him the information about the tournament. So this is just something really important. Also, if there's a policy change, this gives the GS9, GS8, and 7 a chance to go back and look and say, oh yeah, that policy got changed, and then give the correct information to the our lower people, our GS5s, 4s, 3s, 2s, and 1s. So this is just a useful tool. I also have in here, this one is notes for the, oh wait, I got them reversed. Notes for the Gen is the meeting with the general. Notes for the officers is when he has the meetings with the 5, 6, 7s, 8s, or 5, 6, 7, 8, and himself, and we're doing the weekly practice. And if there's any issues brought up, we can put notes in here, and if there's anything that needs to be brought to C. Rob's attention or anything of that nature, you know, he has it in here. So this is for when he's talking with just his upper leadership. And then the last one is the notes for the meeting with the fire squad. Me and Jinx talked about it. I talked to Skittles about it. We want to talk to Stephen King about it, but he doesn't have internet at the moment. This is, we want to have a weekly meeting earlier in the day before practice once a week with our entire squad, everybody who's active, so that way it's kind of like a family meeting idea. We want to meet with them, talk with them, and, you know, let them raise concerns. And this is where he'll be able to take notes. This is where he will be able to take notes. This and this. This is for the, I think I got ahead of myself because this was for the 7s to the council. So I got myself reversed, but you guys get the idea of it. Sorry about that. Okay, and then, like I said, this is where we have our family meeting. This is complaints of any kind coming from the fire squad, recon GS1s through GS9. Also includes ideas and ways to ensure OPG as a whole is improving. Because there's a lot of our 3s and 2s and 4s, and they have some amazing ideas that might actually really benefit us. You know, so all of their ideas get written down into here, and then, because usually my 2s, 3s, and 4s are really good about reporting to me. Right now, we don't really have a lot of active 5s, but my 5s that are active are really good about reporting to me. So they come to me and they tell me what's going on, what's happening, who's doing what, you know, and so what I do is I write it down in here, and then when we, you know, when I get a chance, I talk to Skittles. If Skittles isn't available or if Stephen King isn't available, I talk to Jinx. Sometimes if it's severe enough, I'll just talk to Jinx. You know, it depends on the severity. If it's not anything really serious, then I'll just take care of it myself. But with this type of organization system, one, you'll be able to keep track of incidences. Two, you'll be able to keep track of your roster. And three, you will make the lower level or the lower ranked members of OPG feel like they are a part of the family. Because the higher ups, 6 through 11, we all feel like we're a part of the family. The council feels like we're a part of the family. But sometimes the lower levels feel a little left out. And with this will help us. So, like I said, it's really easy. You can get one of these from Walmart for $1. The printing is excessively basic. I like color, so I had color on mine. The best thing is if you get into a position to where you have changed to a different syndicate, then the new, or not syndicate, fire team, then the person who's taking your place, you can simply put this in a inexpensive, remember the $10 it fits it ships box? You can put this in a USPS box with the address for the new GS whichever level and send it to them, and they will have all the information you've gathered, so that way they're not starting from scratch. They're not walking into not knowing what's going on. So that's basically the gist of it. I am very proud of this. I did work very hard on this, and One Shot gave me his permission to create this video. Well, I don't know if he gave me permission to create this video. I told him I was creating this video because I wanted to put it up on the OPG website. This notebook is for 6, 7s, or 1 GS6, 1 GS6, GS7, GS8, GS9, GS10, GS11 if he wants to, and I am working on a modified version for the council members, so that way they have all the information they need for all of their fire teams. The council, Evil, Anthros, guys, I'm working on something a little bit different for you guys, because frankly, you don't need all this information, because you need more of numbers and who's active and things like that. So I am going to modify it for you guys, because you guys are going to need a different kind of notebook. So I'm still working on that. I do thank you for listening to the presentation about the book I created. I hope you guys like it, and again, thank you for listening and giving my idea a shot. I appreciate it. And thank you for letting me be a part of the OPG family. It's awesome, and I couldn't think of a better clan or community. Sorry, Evil, community to be in. Blessed to everyone, and I hope I talk to you all soon.